The Epic of Gilgamesh is the oldest surviving work of literature in the world. And at the risk of ruining every movie, book, or play you're ever going to see, the epic is pretty much the basis of every story ever told. The story has all the tropes we've come to expect in a good yarn. It's got heroes and battles and adventure, sex and death and murder. But surprisingly and most importantly, what Gilgamesh and Enkidu cared about 4,000 years ago is what we care about today. We want someone who understands us. We want meaning in our lives, and most importantly, we want to live as long as possible. Our tale begins 4,000 years ago in the city of Uruk. Uruk was the New York or London of its day. It was considered the most technologically advanced place on the planet. It boasted a type of step pyramid called a ziggurat. Its temples were covered in brightly colored stone cone mosaics, a great innovation at the time. And it had a canal system which rivaled that of Venice millennia later. Granted, it's not much to look at today, but at the time it was a mighty city ruled by a mighty but very bored King Gilgamesh. One day, Gilgamesh suggests to his best friend Enkidu that they go to the cedar forest, kill the demon guardian and cut down the sacred trees. Enkidu thinks this is a terrible idea. The demon Humbaba is extremely powerful and appointed by the god Enlil himself. They wouldn't stand a chance against him. Gilgamesh, overriding all of Enkidu's objections, announces to the elders of Uruk his plan to slay the demon Humbaba and gain undying fame. The elders too are horrified and try to talk him out of it, but in fact he talks them round. The elders finally relent, but advise the king that the best way to kill the demon is through teamwork. When historians and archaeologists first transcribed the Epic of Gilgamesh, they thought that the most likely location for the cedar forest was the Lebanon, a country with high mountains covered with cedar trees, and it was far enough away from Iraq to make it a very long walk. But before they set off on their adventure, the boys go to the temple to pray to the sun god Shamash for protection. Gilgamesh's mum, the goddess Ninsun, overhears them, and she prays too to the sun god, asking for extra protection, god to goddess, so to speak. After much preparation and the making of special weapons, our intrepid heroes set off. Now don't forget that Gilgamesh and Enkidu are superhuman, so the journey takes no time at all. At this point in our story, Gilgamesh has a series of dreams and nightmares about scary wild bulls, mountains that fall, fires that cover the earth in ash. Pretty post-apocalyptic stuff. Luckily, Enkidu's there to put a positive spin on Gilgamesh's dream predictions. Our heroes are finally ready to enter the cedar forest, but just at that moment, Gilgamesh loses his courage and starts crying and calling out to the sun god Shamash. Shamash isn't impressed and is very unsympathetic and tells him to get on with it. Humbaba, who usually wears 7 layers of armor, is only wearing 1. So it's time for action. Unfortunately, it is now Enkidu's turn to lose courage, but his spirits are quickly lifted by Gilgamesh, who tells him that through teamwork, they can be victorious. Armed to the teeth and filled with courage, our heroes march into the forest. Finding Humbaba, they prepare for battle. But Humbaba is not that easy to kill. He tries to undermine their friendship, pitting one against the other and exaggerating their weaknesses. Humbaba is a sneaky demon. He tries to diminish Enkidu by making fun of his parentage and asking Gilgamesh why he's hanging around with a loser like Enkidu. The two friends, however, aren't fooled and they're prepared to do battle. Luckily, they've got some divine help in the form of 13 winds sent by the sun god Shamash to encircle Humbaba and prevent him from striking. Gilgamesh goes for the kill, but Humbaba stops him by begging for his life. Humbaba pleads for his life by promising that Gilgamesh can cut down any tree in the forest that he wants. In fact, Humbaba will help him do it. Enkidu, who is not sympathetic to Humbaba's pleas, urges Gilgamesh to go for the kill. Humbaba, realizing the end is near, curses Enkidu and tells him that he will die before Gilgamesh. Gilgamesh kills Humbaba by cutting off his head. And as if in grief, the heavens open and it rains all over the forest. Enkidu and Gilgamesh go on a rampage and they desecrate the forest by cutting down the tallest cedar trees. Finally, our heroes make a raft out of the cedar trees that they've cut down, and they sail triumphantly on the river Euphrates to the city of Uruk. Join us next time to find out what happens to our intrepid heroes. Cursed by Humbaba, Enkidu becomes very ill. Will Gilgamesh be able to save him from death?